All right, Niners win in Vegas over the Raiders. Jake Moody made the game winner, and yet he's still incredibly shaky. Let's get to it. The Krug Show. Let's go. Off and running after Niner football. Niners beat the Raiders in the desert on the Jake Moody 59-yard field goal, but he was a circus. He made 5 of 6, but they didn't look good. We'll get into him. But welcome to the Krug Show after Niner football. Larry Krueger with you. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And we're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue, down in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Give Anthony Catania a call at 831-521-5264. All right, Niners win, but it wasn't pretty. And Purdy looked really good. I think that was probably the most important part of this game. Nick Martin sure had the bounce-back game that I predicted he would have. Jake Moody connected from 59 yards out, but he also missed from 53. He had a short field goal that barely went in, that would not have gone in if it had been from 30 yards out. And the Niners are in this pickle here where they got more guys injured. Dom Pooney went out with an injury. It didn't look to be too serious after looking at him sitting on the bench, but we'll get more details. I'm sure knowing the Niners buzzard luck, he's probably done for the year and next year too. You know, it's like, but Pooney was on the bench with no brace on his knee in the second half of the game. Take that for whatever it's worth. Let's go around the room. And of course, we definitely want to hear from you guys in the chat. Thanks to everybody for joining us. We're off and running on a Saturday, 22-19, the final. There were a lot more positives in this game than negatives for sure, and we'll get to all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. But let's go around the room for first impressions, and we'll start with you, Kev, and we'll work that way. What did you think?
I mean, I think the biggest thing you got to take from this game, and the most important thing you have to take from this game, is just Brock Purdy coming out and looking sharp. He came out, delivered the ball on time, pretty accurate. There was a couple inaccurate throws here and there, kind of maybe the ball to Demarcus Robinson on the slant route inside the 10 was a little bit wide, but he looked really sharp. Ricky Pearsall looked really sharp. Patrick Taylor went down with the injury, but I said this last week and I'll say it again. I do not really understand him being the number two back, like the number 2 healthy back right now behind Christian McCaffrey. I think Kiner is a much better running back at this point than Patrick Taylor. Patrick Taylor's really only the guy because he's been in the system, but he went down with an injury and Kiner went down with an injury. So the Niners at running back are looking very, very slim. You know, Garendo's injured. Jordan James is injured. So a lot of injuries are stacking up, but yeah, the takeaway for me from this one, at least early, is Purdy, Pearsall looking sharp.
Frank, what'd you think?
I enjoyed the game, actually. I thought it was a pretty competitive preseason game. It was really competitive. I think some of the mishaps that the 49ers had were actually caused by the Raiders. I mean, you really see the difference of a Pete Carroll coach team versus somebody else. They look like Seattle to me. They really run to the ball. They ball hawk. On the positive side from the 49ers, I thought Purdy was excellent, but I was equally impressed with Mac Jones. And I wanted to see him because you had been talking about him during practice. I thought he was really sharp. I also thought Robbie Chosen was he looked like a very dependable wide receiver. It's his 10th year, but he looked pretty darn good. Like you said, and I also like the fact that, again, Robert Saleh makes a difference. Some of those surprise calls that he made really kept the Raiders off balance, and you can foresee him doing that within the regular season. So from a defensive standpoint, I have a lot more confidence than I had last year, and I think that's going to equate to some more victories for the 49ers.
Danny, what'd you think?
Yeah, I was impressed with the first unit. They looked good the first drive, and then I thought Jones played pretty well. I mean, what was he today? He was 13 of 16, 135 yards. Did have the one pick there that what's the guy's name? Not Quinn or Chin or something like that.
Jeremy Chin.
Yeah. That was a nice pick by him as he reached out. But I thought Jones looked good. Knows the offense, it looks like, pretty well. And then the other surprise to me, not so much a surprise, but it was nice to see was all of a sudden I'm just drew a blank. The running back, just
Steiner?
No, Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
I think it's Jones. Jeff Wilson, the goal line. I liked how he powered over the guy at the goal line because he was with Miami, he was kind of the back that would come in at goal line situations a lot. He's a guy that sniffs the end zone, and I don't know if it's just me. I don't remember him looking so. He looks thinner. Like he doesn't look as beefed up. He looks quicker, like in his physicality, his makeup. He always seemed like when he was at Miami, he seemed like he was more of a power guy. Now he looks thinner up top and quicker. I'm wondering if he realized if he's going to stay in the league. He worked out this offseason. I think he might be the third, fourth back on this team. If Garendo will be 2 and then probably James 3, but Wilson could be on the line. I like him for goal line situations. Niners had a real struggle last year getting the ball in the end zone.
Heck, at this rate, maybe he'll be the starter. The way guys are falling. There's a lot of things to look at in this game. I thought, first, let's just take it in chronological order. First drive, I thought Purdy looked really, really sharp. Stop route to Pearsall. He had the bootleg pass to Pearsall. On 3rd and 18, he found Pearsall on the in cutter for just a perfect dime, 21-yard gain, first down on 3rd and 18. Found Hodgins on the stop route. He found Demarcus Robinson on 2nd and 7. He threw another pass to Demarcus Robinson, who, Kevin just said, man, Robinson's going to be good. And then he dropped the next one. Then he scrambled. And then, he threw a near interception to on the last play looked like just like poor communication between him and Pearsall. But, I thought Brock looked really sharp in that first drive. 5 of 7, had that perfect dime to Pearsall on the in cut. And then Moody comes in, makes the 30-yard field goal, 12-play, 61-yard drive in a little under 6 minutes. And I liked it. I thought that first offensive unit looked sharp. They didn't seem like they missed Debo. They didn't seem like they missed Aiyuk. Pearsall was getting open. Brock was throwing with some zip, some anticipation. And then they had that one poor communication. It could have been a pick 6, but instead it was an incompletion. And then Moody makes the field goal. So, you got to kind of compartmentalize these games because you have whole different squads, right? You have like your first team and their first team. So I thought overall the first team offense looked good.
From a first team offense perspective, I think Demarcus Robinson is showing a lot. Like I really like what I'm seeing from him. I know he had that kind of like drop catch. I don't really know what you want to call that, but his physicality, the size that he plays with, being able to play on the boundary and make tough catches. He made a really tough out route catch in that first drive. That was the second drive. Mac Jones threw across the formation to him. Like, I like that from a receiver. He kind of plays that Jauan Jennings type where it's like you have a guy who can make a tough catch on a 3rd down. I like what he's adding to this receiver room that's pretty injured.
Yeah, no question. I think Robinson is a good addition for sure, even though he's maybe facing a 3-game suspension off the start. So that was the first offensive unit, right? Then the Niners put their first team defense out there, at least for, in this game, whatever that was going to be. And I thought there were some good things there. Huff was playing defensive end on first down, which I thought was kind of surprising. But Huff on a big pass play got a little pressure in the face of Geno, and he wound up throwing incomplete to Dante Thornton against Lenore. The great play by Huff. He got a lot of pressure. And then that 2nd and 10 play where Geno Smith goes to Genty and Tatum Bethune just absolutely hit the smackdown on Genty. And I thought he may have hurt himself on the play, and we'll find out. Maybe he did. But it was a huge, huge hit by Tatum Bethune. And if there's one guy, guys, that, really in this spring or this summer that is just making a name for himself, it's Tatum Bethune. And on the very next play, Smith throws to Mostert, Marquise Siegel with the solo tackle, and they forced a Daniel Carlson field goal. He made the field goal to tie the game, but I thought back-to-back plays there by Bethune and Siegel. Those two guys were the stars of the Denver game, and early in this game, they were the stars early on the defensive side, at least for the 49ers. What did you guys think of Tatum Bethune and Marquise Siegel?
I actually don't have all the names down, to be quite honest with you. Looking at the first unit. No,
yeah,
I mean,
48 and 36, I think.
Yeah, but here's what I look at when I look at defense. Because I look at positioning. When I saw the 49ers last year, it was a lot of guys who were out of position. And, basketball, football, you need to stay in your lane. And one of the things I've noticed in this year is they're far more disciplined. So I see guys flying around. Now I looked at the numbers as opposed to the names. They were ready to play, and that's what I looked at. So I don't have all the names down. There's a couple of guys I can highlight, but I thought that as a collective with Robert Saleh running that defense, they look like they're not going to give games away, and I was impressed by that.
I'll add on the Siegel play. I thought that play might have been one of the most impressive plays I've seen this entire preseason, defensively at least. Like Siegel making that play, a third down stop. You have a running back in Mostert, who's a good running back, a fast running back, out open field. Siegel comes down, makes the tackle in the open field. Third down stop. Like, that's a huge play. And this is a guy that was drafted later in the draft, like not a big name coming out of college. Like the Niners might have found a guy in Siegel. I'm really excited for him. And I think that there's a real potential, especially if you look at this safety room, that he could start. Like he has a real shot to start now. And I think he's proving it on the field right now.
Yeah, no, I think, you're looking for small victories, right? I mean, I think you're right. I think Siegel potentially is the starter. I mean, I've been hearing that all spring from Niner people that, he's the long-term answer at free safety, but it may be the short-term as well. He may be the starter there. I mean, I know they're going to go with Pinnock and probably Brown in week 1, but the way Siegel can run, the way he can cover, and how violent he is and how physical he wants to be, I think there's no question he's a starter in the future. The other, the rapport between Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall, especially with no Debo and Aiyuk, that's going to be vitally important. So I thought that was really big that we got Purdy to Pearsall, and it looked really, really good. The big negative was that Dom Pooney suffered that right knee injury on the field goal.
I have injury updates. Let me give you injury updates.
Yeah, you got it.
Injury updates from Kyle Shanahan. Dominic Pooney, possible PCL injury, might miss a few weeks. So that's the situation. Patrick Taylor, dislocated shoulder, will be out a couple weeks. Kyle Shanahan. And then lastly, Corey Kiner suffered a high ankle sprain, will be out multiple weeks.
Okay,
so
That's
Kiner,
a rough one for the kid.
Kiner, Pooney, and Taylor all out multiple weeks with different injuries.
So high ankle for Kiner, and he had a phenomenal run on the play that he got hurt. I thought Kiner had the best run that I've seen from him this preseason right then and there. And unfortunately, 19-yard run. And then all of a sudden he gets the high ankle sprain. So high ankle sprain for Kiner, he's probably that's probably a month. And you said Dom Pooney with a PCL strain?
Injury, just PCL injury.
And we don't know if it's a tear or not.
Well, he said a few weeks.
A few weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, I'm hearing.
Might miss a few weeks per Kyle Shanahan.
Okay, so he's out for week 1. And then the third guy was Taylor.
Dislocated shoulder.
But that's a dislocated shoulder is only a week. Is that what you said?
A couple weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. It could have been worse, I guess. Could have been worse. But yeah, high ankle sprain is usually a month to a month and a half. The PCL, if it's a strain, probably 3-4 weeks. And then Taylor with the dislocated shoulder. I don't know. they love Taylor for some reason. I mean, he runs completely upright. He exposes his entire upper torso, and he gets smoked. So I mean, it's like, it just. I thought the blocking on the early downs and the early run plays was putrid. He just was getting destroyed in the backfield, but he runs upright, so he's gonna take big hits. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer right there. But overall, I would say, obviously the Pooney, the Taylor, the Kiner injuries aside, Purdy looked good. Pearsall looked good. Siegel looked good. Bethune looked good. Nick Martin had his best game. There was a lot of good things in this game. Mac Jones moved well in the pocket. He did throw the interception. Jones on the ball to Chosen never saw Jeremy Chin and just kind of threw it right to him. So that was a disappointing play. But overall there was a lot of good in this game. I mean, I don't know overall how you guys would look at this. I didn't see anything. I'll say this: the Niners D-line without West, they really made no noise in this game. The Niner D-line was not a factor. Valdez made a nice tackle against Genty on the second possession, but they really didn't get a lot of heat on the quarterback. In fact, Robert Saleh had to dial up some blitzes at times to, replicate that, some kind of pass rush. But overall, I mean, I'm glad, I kind of felt like the tackle on Corey Kiner was kind of dirty, to be completely honest.
That hip drop.
Yeah, the hip drop tackle where you grab a guy and then hurl your body into his legs. I mean, it's either a torn ACL, some kind of torn ligament, or in this case, a high ankle sprain. They outlawed that, but it seemed to be a clear hip drop tackle, but they didn't call it.
Yeah, they don't really seem to call the hip drop tackle a lot. They made that a rule, but I don't feel like it gets called very often or like identified as a call. But on the defensive line, yeah, they're playing with a lot of guys out today. CJ West out, Mykal Williams out, for blanking on the other names that were out. But
Bradley and Nye's out. I mean, they've got a bunch of guys.
Out.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
nothing really from Collins. I thought Kalia Davis had one good run stop on the goal line. Gibson, the guy from the edge rusher from the Bears.
Travis Gibson.
He had one good sack. I think the one nice thing about Saleh is that he's going to bring pressure. He's not going to just sit there and let the defensive line cave in and just not get pressure on the quarterback. You saw sacks from Chase Lucas. You saw a sack from Nick Martin. You saw pressures coming from all angles. So I like seeing kind of the pressures dialed in by Saleh. But yeah, nothing really to write home about from the defensive line.
What'd you guys think of Nick Martin overall?
I thought Martin looked good. I thought he looked really good. He was moving fast. That one blitz where he solo tackle on the blitz looked really good. I thought Collins, though, I was keeping an eye on him, just watching 3 or 4 of his snaps. Didn't really seem to be making any headway at the line. Seemed like he was getting taken out of the play.
Yeah, I mean, he's not much of a pass rusher, and if he doesn't play with good pad level, he's not very strong against the run either. But usually, in college at least, he was very strong against the run. Did he make any tackles today?
No, no tackles.
Yeah, no tackles at all for him.
Yeah.
Nick Martin led the Niners, 6 tackles, 5 solo. He had a sack. He had 2 TFLs. He had a hit on the quarterback. What did you think of him, Frank? What did you think of Martin?
I thought Martin, I only saw 2 plays that he overran. He took some bad angles on a couple of plays. But again, I mentioned last week, he kind of reminds me of Lee Woodall because he's 5'11", he has a low center of gravity, and he gets to the party. And all his mistakes are coachable. He needs to take the right angle. He needs to use the sidelines to his advantage. He just needs to calm and get his breathing down. But I think he's going to be a really, really good player because you saw the progression from last week to this week. So he's a talented guy. I thought he played well. He needs to calm down and focus on what he needs to do, which is get the ball carriers or whomever on the ground. You don't have to make the exciting play. Just get them on the ground. And I think he's going to do that.
I think the polarizing thing about Nick Martin is that the mistakes that he's making are very apparent to the viewer. Like if a linebacker truly sucks, he won't even be in the fucking play. Like he's just going to be, he's going to read the play wrong. He's going to shoot the wrong gap. And he's not even going to miss the tackle because he can't make the tackle because he's not there. The thing that I think that shines about Nick Martin is that he's at the ball. He's at the guy that has the ball. And he overran it a few times. You saw it in this game. It was against Sincere McCormick. He was too happy. He like shot at him. McCormick took one step. He went flying by, and then McCormick runs up for 5 more yards. Nick Martin flashes the speed, though, man. He really has speed. He shows up at the ball, and he made some big hits today. So I like the flash. I like the redemption game from him. But yeah, he's a little over aggressive at times. He needs to take a deep breath and really break down and make some of those tackles. But he flashes some real skill.
What'd you guys think of Chase Lucas today?
I mean, he's another guy that if the Niners are going to struggle with pass rush, they're going to have some guys who, Saleh can dial up blitzes and who get home. The one thing about Lucas is that when you send him, he gets home. He's been playing with a lot of fire. I thought he had no chance to make this roster, but with the injuries and the plays that he's made, I still don't think he can hold up in coverage. I don't think he's a coverage player, but he's a special teamer and he's a situational blitzer. And he doesn't play with a lot of fear. I'll say that. I like his attitude. But I'll say this about Martin too. Martin more so than the other good young backers the Niners have discovered in recent years. This guy reminds me a little bit of Bobby Wagner from the standpoint of this is a guy who I think Robert Saleh is going to send at quarterbacks a ton this year because they're going to struggle to get home. Collins is not a pass rusher. The other interior guys are young. Bosa and Huff are going to put out some rush for sure, but there's not a lot behind those guys. So you're going to need to move the quarterback from time to time off his spot. And Martin is so damn fast that I think you're going to see him sent on delayed blitzes. He had 6 sacks a couple years ago in college. 6 sacks is a lot for a linebacker who's playing the run a lot. So, I mean, he's got that pass rush ability and, he can close that space, whether it be in the flat against a runner or receiver, or if it's, in a pass rush situation against a quarterback. I see Saleh sending him a lot this year. I bet you he winds up with 6 sacks off delayed blitzes.
Larry, let me ask you a question about 2 guys that I noticed. Notwithstanding the 3 false starts, I thought the guy Prince looked pretty darn good as a pass blocker and just as an offensive lineman. I mean, you don't want to see, but those are correctable problems. He's probably nervous. He talked to his quarterback one time, snap the effing ball. He was reading the defense and he couldn't stay in the stance. But as an offensive lineman, I thought he looked decent, minus those penalties. And the other guy who I watched since he was in college, who I like, is Chaz Surratt. Chaz Surratt came from the Jets. He had 6 tackles today. I think he's a football player. I don't know how he looks in practice on a day-to-day basis, but I've seen him make plays. And I was wondering about him.
If this game meant anything, I would have thought that Prince was being paid by the Raiders because that guy was false starting in the most key critical situations on back-to-back plays. I was like, what is going on? It was ridiculous.
Those are killers. Those are killers. But I mean, obviously you can't false start 3 times in a game. I mean, that everybody knows that. It's like getting called for walking or catching the ball and stepping out of bounds or something. It's like, it's not okay. And it can't be ignored, but he may be in line for a roster spot if Burford and Pleasance can't pass protect better than they did in the first game. Now, I didn't see Pleasance or Burford exactly how they played today, but Prince did false start 3 times, so that's obviously not good. But he's got a shot. He's got a shot to make the roster because he's got 35-inch arms. He's got offensive tackle experience. They're really thin at tackle, and they need somebody who can. Speed. I don't know if he has the foot speed either. Yeah. He's got great length. The great length can sometimes cover for foot speed. As far as Surratt, though, he was a high school. He was a high school and then a college quarterback at North Carolina, and he's really smart. And he has 4.5 speed, and he's 230 pounds. So the intellect and the speed make him a really good developmental prospect. And I think he makes the team, but it's going to be tough. I mean, it's, if there's injuries, maybe he'll get a spot. I think he, at worst, he's a developmental linebacker who'll be on the practice squad. I do think he will sit. If he gets cut, I think he definitely gets through waivers, and then I think they would place him on the practice squad.
You know, getting back to Lucas on that one interception he had, you talked about his coverage. I don't know who the intended target was on that. I can't remember if it was the tight end for the Raiders or what, but Lucas had his back to the quarterback the whole time, and he was just shadowing the receiver, and he looked like he was the one running the route because he cut right in front of the intended receiver and, cut right in the passing lane, picked it off. I thought he looked pretty good on that play. I haven't watched him, like you have, Larry, in practice with his coverage skills, but he seems like a ball hawk type guy, like a guy that loves to.
He's a high energy guy for sure. I mean, the guy dropped like 3 F-bombs the other day in an interview I did with him. He's high energy. He's high energy, and he's kind of he's kind of, Robert Saleh has this saying, all gas, no brakes. And one of the things he means by that is like, he wants the system to be very, very simple so that the guys don't have to think, because if you think, you're not moving fast. And if you're not moving fast, you're not playing well. So he's got the saying, all gas, no brakes. And man, in a lot of ways, I feel like Chase Lucas is the poster child for all gas, no brakes, because there's not a lot of hesitation there. I don't know how refined he is as a man-to-man cover corner, but you know what? Robert Saleh is no fool. He looks at this team. He sees how young his defensive front is. He knows he's going to have to dial up some heat on the quarterback from time to time, and he's not going to be able to get there with his front four. So he needs to have a couple of, Josh Metellus type blitzers, guys he can send at the quarterback. Nick Martin is going to be one of those guys. Chase Lucas is going to be one of those guys. If these guys, Martin's going to make the roster. I think Lucas might as well. These guys are going to be utilized as ways to move the quarterback off his spot, ways to scheme up pass rush. So I think they're actually kind of important players. And D. Winters as well.
Yeah, I get a kick out of some of these guys, and defensive backs crack me up. Derek Canteen was beat badly, and I can't remember who was in at the time for the Raiders, who was the quarterback.
O'Connell, maybe.
O'Connell, yeah, it was O'Connell. That's right. He missed him, and it was a touchdown. And Canteen's like, no, incomplete, like putting his arms up, like waving, like he did. You can't beat me, dude. The guy was beat right down the middle of the post for a touchdown by 3 steps at least. O'Connell just missed the pass, and Canteen's waving his arms like, incomplete, baby. You can't touch me. And I just crack up at these guys.
I will say this about Lucas. There's only so much you can learn from these preseason games, but there's only so much you can gain from playing in these. But if there was anything to gain, Chase Lucas is really proving it right now. Like, he's by far and away playing the best out of any individual player on this team in terms of making an impact on the games. He had a sack today, a key sack, made some good tackles. He had an interception in the previous game and a sack in that game. So it's like, he's proven that he's a dog. And I didn't really think much of him coming into these preseason games. He's been on the roster before. He's just kind of a smaller, nickel corner, safety. Like, he's kind of just a tweener player. But people in the chat are right. He's a gamer. He's been playing really well.
He's
when
a gamer.
Does Mustafa
knows how to play.
To come back? Is it about week 6, 8, somewhere around there?
He's got a knee, and I would say they're not going to rush it. I would guess middle of the year. That would be my guess. Maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
If he's 100%, will he take Brown's place if Brown is the starting safety?
I think so. I think it would be probably Pinnock, who's very trustworthy and a veteran. Pinnock's really valuable. You'll see come week 1 because he's a great blitzer. He's really good up on the line of scrimmage. He reads things, and yet he can cover. So Pinnock, I think, is the free safety, and I think Mustafa is probably the strong safety. But you never know. Siegel's coming on too. So you never know. I'll tell you a couple guys that impressed me that we haven't hit on yet. Tongas, that job's up for grabs. Dwelly got waived, so now it's Tongas against Willis, and I don't know that they're going to go with 3 tight ends. They may go with 2 and cut both of them, but Tongas today made a couple of really nice blocks as a fullback. He had that really nice catch. from Bradley on the last drive to keep on the fourth down to keep the drive alive. I think Tongas, the ex-Cal Bear, is pushing in front of Braden Willis. If there's going to be a third tight end, I was told it's going to be a very much a special teams type specific role. And, Tongas as a fullback, special teamer, tight end. I mean, he's a little bit of everything. I think he's kind of pushed forward there. If they do go with three, I could see him being the guy. And then I got to get your guys' thoughts on Mac Jones because, guys, what we saw today and what we saw last week is what he has shown in training camp. Kev, give me the math. What's the completion percentage if you go 13 of 16? That's what Jones was today. That's got to be 80%, right? That's got to be close to 80%.
81.2.
81.2. 81% completion percentage for Mac Jones. He has completed north of 70% all summer long. He was 13 of 16, 135 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he did have the one interception. But what I like about Jones is that he plays on time. He seems to process, and Tim Ryan said it late in the broadcast, that he does, for a guy who's kind of thought to be kind of a statue, he does have some of that slight movement ability in the pocket.
He has good feel.
Good feel to glide around the pocket. He was intercepted the one time, but he was not sacked. He gets rid of the ball. He plays on time. He moves the chains. 80% completion percentage is good, especially when you're out there with 2s and 3s, no Trent Williams, no CMC, no Aiyuk, no Debo, no JJ. You're out there with backups, backup linemen, guys that you don't have necessarily a great rapport with. I thought it was going to be a Jacob Cowing sighting today. There was no sighting of Jacob Cowing at all. So, considering these top receivers are Chosen and Robinson and Gage and those Hodgins, what do you guys think of Mac Jones? Is Mac Jones,
might be one of the
Mac Jones perfect for this offense, and he's always been perfect for this offense, and they just should have drafted Mac Jones? I mean, is it as simple as that?
No, I mean, he wasn't incredible. Like, yeah, he delivers
16.
Yeah, but that's great. I'm not saying he wasn't good today. I think he was solid, but I mean, he had a boneheaded pick today where he's just one of those picks where it's like, what are you doing? I mean, and I know it was a great play by Jeremy Chin, but it kills the drive, and that's what Mac Jones does. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's an NFL quarterback, and we're used to having non-NFL quarterbacks. Like Brandon Allen is not a very good NFL quarterback. I think Mac Jones is a few tiers above Brandon Allen, but Mac Jones has a chance to improve, but he's not special. He's definitely not a first round caliber quarterback if you were to redraft him right now.
I would say this, that if Purdy went down for 2 to 3 games, I don't think there's such a huge drop off with Mac Jones that you can't win those games.
Mac Jones is a very good player. He's played a lot of ball. He's lost a lot. He's dealt with a lot of adversity. Also, they haven't talked about it, but it seems like they've taken some of what he does in New England and brought that to the Bay Area. Just like Tom Brady, like the fake handoff to the running back, quick slants. Those are plays that he eats up. He can do in his sleep. So as long as they don't have him back there for 5 to 7 seconds looking for running on wide receivers 20, 30 yards down the field, he can make precision passes. So I like him, and I think that he can start. The only challenge that he has is if you don't protect him, he can't elude really, really tough rushers. But the 49ers have a solid backup quarterback who can start and win games. And
that's really the key.
Quietly, he's in competition with Purdy. He's not going to say it, but every backup quarterback who comes to the 49er is competing for maybe not the starting job here, but what comes next. Look at all these guys. I mean, you mentioned Brandon Allen. You know what? I watched Brandon Allen yesterday for Tennessee. He looked pretty damn good. He threw a nice rope to the tight end for a touchdown. So every quarterback who plays for the 49ers gets better because there's internal competition. And I think that's what you're seeing with Mac Jones.
You know, I mean, there's people in here like Larry needs to pump the brakes on Mac Jones. Why? I mean, this guy looked really, really good against Denver in the joint practices, and he looked pretty good in the game. And he's
well, what do you mean though? What do you mean? Like what? What's the? How good?
I agree with
how
Frank.
good? Like
I think you can win games with. I think you can win games with Mac Jones.
well, that's not a crazy take. I don't think that's a crazy take.
Well, of course not.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there are people that were like, you know, McCorkle Jones, what a disaster, blah, blah, blah. He's not a disaster. He's actually pretty good. He plays on time. And in this offense, he looks really good. And I don't know if it's Shanahan. Because let's be honest, guys. The Niner receivers are not much. If you take out Aiyuk and JJ and Debo, and you just put the guys that got out there, it's not one of the better receiving corps. It's probably not even, and it's probably in the bottom third of the league. And this offensive line is not considered to be a top tier line. It's just kind of humdrum. And he hasn't even really played with Kittle. So the rest of the tight ends aren't very good. So, I mean, I'm watching Mac Jones day after day after day in practice. And what you saw today is what I see in practice every day. He completes every day about 70 to 75% of the passes. He plays on time. The ball comes out. He throws a very catchable ball. He moves move the ball drill. He moves the team. Now you're right, Kev. He threw a boneheaded interception to a linebacker he didn't see, and maybe that is going to be his undoing. But they got this guy for 2 years. They got him for reasonable money. I think he's really an effective player. Why? Because I think he is going to make sure he's a legitimate NFL quarterback, as you said, and that puts more pressure on Purdy to perform because last year he didn't have. Brock Purdy could have played like crap last year, and he wasn't coming out. Brock Purdy could have thrown picks last year, and he wasn't coming out because Brandon Allen and the other guy were just backups. Dobbs, they're backups. They're borderline NFL quarterbacks. Where Jones made a Pro Bowl as a rookie. Jones led for Miami for Alabama.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The positive. And I guess where I was arguing is more like if we're talking about like is he pushing for a starting position over that's just obviously not happening.
I don't think that's
but I
the
think
case
you could
at all.
But if you lose,
yeah, of course.
If you lost Purdy for 5 weeks, I don't think you're sunk. You may not win those games, but I think Mac Jones can come in and win games.
That's perfectly fair. I mean, when he was a rookie, he led the Patriots to the playoffs as a 6 seed. So, I mean, he's proven that he can win games. I don't think that you should look at Mac Jones with the shitty Patriots and the shitty Jacksonville Jaguars and say, "Oh, yeah, Mac Jones sucks." I mean, he's made some bad plays on tape. But I mean, look at him at Alabama. Maybe you just give him some good players and he'll play well. Maybe
he might be the best. He might be the best backup quarterback that the Niners have had since Brock Purdy was a backup. I mean, you think about it. Jones has been in the league for 4 or 5 years. He can run offenses, like you said, Larry. He gets the ball quick. He reads quick. He did this at Alabama. He was amazing at Alabama. I think what you're looking at is a guy who just knows exactly how to read the defense quickly and make quick, precise decisions. I crack up at the chat. Some of the people in here telling Larry, back off. Like you haven't watched any of his practices. And these guys, all knowing guys in the chat, you've been at every practice. You see what he does. You see how he runs the offense. I think Larry has a pretty good indication of what's going on more than just about everyone.
Well, I think we just got to set a standard like to how good is Mac Jones in what you're saying, and is what I agree. Like you can win games with him. He's not a Brandon Allen. You're never gonna win. You're not if you play 10 games with Brandon Allen, you're gonna win 1. You're gonna win 2. Like you're not winning games.
Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is better than Sam Darnold. I think Mac Jones is better than Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's got a bigger arm, but I think Mac Jones is better.
Better decision maker as far
as
Darnold
started in because I tell you what, I watched Sam Darnold yesterday on Seattle. He lit it up.
Yeah, Darnold had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, he looked good. So I mean,
But he throws a lot of picks. He throws a lot of picks.
Yeah.
Career. I mean, he threw a lot of picks in college. He's thrown a lot of picks in the NFL. Last year, with the biggest game of the year, what happened with Darnold? He threw a lot of picks. Now he's in Seattle. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Darnold is big and strong, has a better arm than Mac Jones. Probably a little bit better athlete than Mac Jones, but I think Mac Jones probably processes a little bit better. I think he's a little bit more accurate. I think he throws a little bit more catchable ball. Ninja Dom says, Larry, do you still think Lucas isn't making the team? He deserves a spot over Luter. Well, they do different things. I don't think Lucas will make the team. I do think he'll wind up on the practice squad. I really do. Unless there's injuries, and there are a lot of injuries. If Upton Stout's down, maybe he'll make it. But the thing about Luter is a gigantic press man corner. And I just don't want to get rid of him because personally, I know he's going to wind up somewhere else playing, and the 49ers are going to be checking the waiver wire. See, I like Lucas if everybody's healthy and you can just have a guy play a role. But if you tell me I've got to have Chase Lucas starting at right corner or slot corner, or I've got to have Darrell Luter starting at right corner, I'm taking Darrell Luter. He's bigger, stronger, faster. He's played a lot more press man. I think he's done some good things in the preseason. He's done some bad things in the preseason. But I still think Luter has more ability as a true corner than Lucas. Lucas has made some nice plays in the preseason, but
the question is, and then the question would be really like, because I agree, like Luter has the size, the frame, he's younger, but with a team that's so young, what do you value more? Do you value more of a veteran guy that can play to a certain level right now, or are you going to take another shot on a guy that maybe is a lower floor right now, but potentially higher ceiling?
I personally think that in the old days, people didn't have 3 and 4 wide receiver sets often, and your top 3 corners were vitally important. And then your 4th and 5th corners were just kind of like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. Now most teams don't even carry 5, they carry 6, and all 6 might be on the field a lot and may play. So I think you got to cover. To me, I don't care what you do on special teams. I care what you do from scrimmage, because guess what happens if Renardo goes down? Oh, he has gone down. Oh, if Stout goes down, oh, he has gone down. So now you're onto you're down to your 4th corner right now, and you haven't even played any games. So I'm going to take every one of my corners that can cover. So I would take like Jacob Robinson, for example. He runs in the 4-3s. He's had a really good summer covering, maybe even better than Luter. I got to have Robinson, and I got to have Luter. I mean, I got to have corners that can cover over guys who can play special teams, and that's what Chase Lucas can do. So I don't know. I mean, I don't judge everything. We all sit there and talk endlessly about how the preseason doesn't mean that much. And then when guys do something in the preseason, it means everything. Suddenly it's everything. It's like Chase Lucas was just a guy who was probably headed towards a practice squad. He makes a couple plays that people see on TV, and it's like somebody's like, Chase Lucas has to make the team. So I would say is pump the brakes on putting too much emphasis on the preseason. You want it matters, but your skill set matters. And the skill set of Chase Lucas is that I don't think he's an every down cover guy as a slot corner or as an outside corner. But we'll see, because, Saron Neal, you heard Tim Ryan blowing up Saron Neal a bunch, and Saron Neal is not done hardly anything. And yet he's going to make this team because he is guaranteed $2.25 million. So he's a special teamer. They've obviously wanted him in the offseason. He was running with the 2s on special teams. It's funny to hear Tim Ryan talk about it. You would swear that Saron Neal was a Pro Bowl special teamer, but he wasn't even running with the 1s. He was running with the 2s this week or last week when I looked at special teams practice. So is a guy going to make the team? Yeah, he's probably going to make the team because they guaranteed $2.25 million to him. But he's not even running with the ones on special teams. So I don't know what to say about that.
He did have a nice pass breakup on that one play where he got off his man and then got to the guy getting the ball, broke up the pass. So there's that.
The question is this, though. If you're a young developmental football team with a ton of injuries and you have injuries to your top 3 corners, to me, getting the special teams guy on the roster seems almost like, that's like somebody who has like a gigantic hole in their roof and they're sitting there, pricing, chrome mailboxes or something like that. It's like, well, dude, you got a gigantic hole in your roof. It's the mailbox will be nice, but you got a hole in your roof. So, I mean, cutting good corners that can cover for special teamers is kind of the equivalent.
Hey, I mean, the one thing that speaks to that is last year when they cut Samuel Womack, and then Womack ended up being a really, really good corner for Indianapolis Colts. So,
yeah,
you don't want to
have
see
that happen again. You can't have that happen again.
Yeah.
Though I do.
Hey guys, I got to. I just real quick.
Our future.
I got to cut out. So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Catch you guys on the next one. But had some Saturday night plans.
No problem.
Look at Danny.
Yeah, I got to go drink. I got to go. I don't even drink, but I got to go get drunk to watch this Giants game in an hour.
Are you actually going to watch it?
I'm not the first half. No, like I said, I'm heading out. So by the time I get back, maybe they'll be down 4-0. All right,
Danny. Whether it doesn't matter who's in the lineup and where they're hitting, the Giants will score 1 run.
1 at the most. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Have a good one, Danny. There you go. The great Dan Coach Amelia. Let's hit a couple supers and then we'll get your guys' thoughts on a couple other things here. Jake Moody's in the chat. I made the game-winning 3 to win against our Bay Area rivals. Carol tried to ice me, but just put ice in my veins instead. 59, like I'm Money Moody.
Well, that's great that Jake Moody's in our chat. That's awesome. Thanks, Jake. No, but that was hilarious. Pete Carroll icing the kicker in preseason. How many times have you seen that? It's like the most meaningless game ever. And they pan the camera over to Pete Carroll, and Crosby's just like tapping him on the shoulder, like good shit.
What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. It was hilarious though.
Would have been great if Shanahan and Carroll had met at midfield, and Shanahan went up to Carroll and was like, "Pete, timeout to ice the kicker. What's your deal, bro?" Yeah, like right. the Harbaugh. Remember when Harbaugh?
He double birds him like they were doing that last week.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Moody, another Jake Moody in the chat, says Kittle on the sideline gave me the have to speech. Chet gave Henry when he was on the mound in his second MLB game in Rookie of the Year.
What's going on? Is someone cosplaying as Jake Moody now? Like, what?
Did you guys see Rookie of the Year? Where the kid gets hurt, and they have a surgery on his arm, and the tendons heal too tight, and then he comes back, he's throwing like 100 miles an hour.
Yes,
yeah, it's a good movie. And I believe the kid's mom dates one of the other players on the team. It's very complex. Barry says, why can't the 49ers offensive line stop being offside so much when they're in the red zone? It seems to be a frequent problem over the years. It was Isaiah Prince's problem exclusively today. He had 3 of them, but I kind of agree with Frank. I thought outside of those 3 plays, I thought Prince had some decent reps, but yeah, 3, come on, 3 false starts. I mean, that's not good. Jason Lutz, too soon to congratulate Lucas on making the team. Yeah, too soon. But there's a lot of injuries, so you never know. Personally, I wouldn't put him on the team because I don't think he's, I don't want to put guys on the team for just special teams unless it's the kicker or the punter or like one guy. I don't want to devote like 6 guys to special teams when you were horrible on defense last year. Find me some guys that can cover, and we worry about special teams.
How about just the fact that if you're keeping guys for special teams, why does your special team suck?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, let's see. I want to see some improvement on special teams before I devote the entire roster to special teams. It's funny. I asked the special teams coach, I'm like, hey, have you asked for any assurances? He's like, no, I don't need any assurances. Really? It seems like every single guy added this offseason was in your area. You know, it's like they didn't give you any assurances at all. You just came here and you just lucked out, right? Because every single signing is a special team guy. I'm pretty sure
it was that, and they were being really, I feel like, money conscious. Obviously, the whole deal with the money and this offseason, you know, they're signing guys like Gifford and Saron Neal and Russell Gage. I mean, I guess not all those are special. I'm not sure if Russell Gage is really a special teamer. He might be, but they were being money conscious, and I don't know.
Did Jen says stop talking about Mac Jones, still a backup. Then he or she says hyping up Mac is like Warrior fans hyping up Pods. God, I can't stand watching Pods. I mean, is there anybody more annoying to watch than Pods?
You didn't read this one though.
Mac Jones, Cooper Rush, that's it, not changing. Yeah. All right. And when Mac Jones wins games later on this year, you'll be taking that back.
I mean, it happens, guys. Like quarterbacks play terrible, get this like moniker over their name of like loser or just terrible, and then they get better. Like it happens all the time. And Geno Smith, the quarterback for the other team, was one of the biggest busts in NFL history, and is now just got a huge contract and is the starting quarterback for a team. And is considered to be, you know, I guess top 15 maybe in the NFL. So Sam Darnold, same thing. It's not an impossible thing for Mac Jones to get better.
But you know what? A lot of it is just really bad coaching and bad assessment. I mean, the rule of thumb is more quarterbacks are ruined than developed. And, you know, I mean, you got to sometimes compartmentalize the game and watch these guys and watch how they deal with adversity and consider what they did in college. The raw talent and ability is there. I mean, when I look at the 49ers, we're not really talking about it, but the fact that Nick Mullen is still fighting for an NFL job is amazing to me. You look at all of these like average to below average talented professional quarterbacks who have gone elsewhere, the CJ Beathard's of the world, who are fighting for jobs. That says a lot about what happens when the 49ers take a quarterback and develop them. Go ahead.
And also, I mean, Frank, I mean, your first point is right on the money, which is people just, it's like the knee-jerk reaction. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, sometimes, you know, things don't happen in a second. Sometimes you got to show patience. You know, I mean, you don't go to the birthing center at the hospital and talk shit to the newborns. You know, none of you guys have done shit. None of you guys are going to amount to shit. None of you guys can walk. You can't feed yourselves. You can't wipe your own ass. I mean, they're newborns. Give them some time. I bring this up because let's share the screen here for just a second. There's this quarterback. I don't know if you heard of him. His name is, I won't tell you what his name is, but his rookie year, he had 12 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. That's pretty shitty. His second year, he had 13 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. That's pretty bad. The next year, he didn't do a whole lot better. The next year, he didn't do a whole lot better. The next year, he didn't do a whole lot better. The next year, he didn't do a whole lot better. In fact, he didn't do anything. Oh, but wait. Now down here, he's got 2022, he's got 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Oh, but that's just 1 year. Oh, but the next year he has 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So something happened between here. And who are we talking about? Geno Smith, the Raider quarterback from today. So before you sit there and say Mac Jones is going to suck, Geno Smith was given up for dead in 2013. 9 years later, he's got 30 touchdowns and 11 picks. And he's had 3 good years in a row, pretty much, where he completed a decent percentage. Last year, he completed 70% of his passes. And yet, that's 11 years after he's shitbird, 12 touchdowns, 21 picks. Do you see what I'm saying? You might want to pump the brakes.
And what changed is he's not on the Jets and the Giants. What changes? He's not on the Jets and the Giants.
Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl in 2015. Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Then his receiving core fell apart. His offensive coordinator was defensive coaches, like Matt Patricia was on their offensive coaches, and that's probably why he sucked. Now he's in a good system with good weapons, and he's playing well. So I'm not saying Mac Jones is great. I'm not. But I'm just saying Mac Jones is better than a lot of you think. Greg Argisi came in late. What's going on with Pooney and Kiner? Kiner, go ahead, Kev. Kiner's got a high ankle.
High ankle sprain, going to miss multiple weeks. Pooney, PCL injury. We don't have details on exactly what it is, but he'll be out multiple weeks.
What do you guys think of the Kiner run?
I think Kiner's the better back.
I like him. He flashed last week.
Taylor.
But I'm going to tell you something, though. I know he was 8 for 16, but I liked how Wilson ran the football. And, because the 49ers running back coach is so good and because they really focus what their running backs can do, I think you can plug guys in. Even last year, they had really good games when McCaffrey wasn't there. It kind of waned at the end, but I don't think the running back position is going to be a problem for the 49ers this year. I don't think so.
It's interesting. They ran Keyshawn Vaughn and Wilson a lot tonight. Now, Wilson fell down at least 4 or 5 times this week in practice, or, that I've seen him since he's shown up, which generally is an indication that you're done when you're falling down a lot. So to me, yes, he runs hard. He had the touchdown. He had 8 carries for 16 yards. I don't know what's left there. And then as far as Keyshawn Vaughn, another guy. I love him. Great guy. I've interviewed him a bunch. Has great college back at Vandy. I just think he's, these are stopgap guys to get through the summer. I don't get their fascination with Taylor. He's a special teamer. He runs upright. He doesn't push the pile. He's going to take tons of hits and get hurt. I like Jordan James, but he's got broken fingers. He's out a couple weeks. The Kiner thing now, I think Kiner was on his way to make. Let's just say he doesn't get hurt and he busts off 2 or 3 more of those 19-yard runs tonight. You're talking about a guy that looks as good as any running back the Niners have this summer. And he averaged, if you just want to go average per rush today, 2.7 for Vaughn, 2.0 for Wilson, negative 1.5 for Taylor, and 11.5 for Kiner.
Well, how many rushes did he had? Like 1 rush, 2, or he had 2 rushes.
He had 2 rushes, but he had a 19-yard run. But I'm just saying, Corey Kiner also is much more accomplished and young. He's younger than Wilson, younger than Vaughn, more and better than Taylor. I think more accomplished than James, really. So we'll see. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who love James, but I'm not one of them.
I'm putting this up on the screen. These are the available running backs in the NFL right now, because I feel like the Niners are going to have to sign someone because they are, because they're two running backs.
What are they waiting on? What are they waiting on? Now, Amir Abdullah, they already signed. Okay. But Jamal
they waived him.
Yeah,
right?
I know. He's IR. He's IR. He's
right.
Yeah, he's hurt. He actually played pretty well. Now, of this list, I think the guys that are most interesting, Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is, the Niners took the wrong Williams out of Utah in the year that this guy came out. They should have gone with this guy. In fact, when I first saw the Niners, it said on ESPN's draft thing, I was out walking around that day, the Niners signed running back Jay Williams from Utah. I'm like, oh, yeah, Jamal Williams, the BYU kid. And they're like, no, it's Joe Williams from Utah. And sure enough, Joe Williams sucks, always sucked. I knew it at the time. Jamal Williams was way better. Lee Steinberg represented him. I met him at his draft party, or at his Super Bowl party. If he's still out there, Jamal Williams is a good back. So I would take Jamal Williams if he's healthy. And the other guys on this list, the other guy is kind of interesting is Dante Foreman, the former Texas back, who's gigantic and fast. Yeah. He's a hard running guy, and I think Shanahan knows all about him. So those would be the 2 guys I'd be looking for. But you may want to wait until the cut down and just see who's out there on the waiver wire, because there's probably going to be some decent players. But I think Kiner was on his way to making the team.
Now, you look good. Larry, let me ask you a question. Christian historically wants all of the touches. Coming off a tough injury last year, I mean, what's a reasonable percentage of his touches this year? Because he probably wants as many as he can get. But from your perspective, should they be should they manage him differently now than they have in the past? And if so, on a scale of 100, what percentage of the touches should he get? What do you think?
It's a great question. I mean, you have to protect Christian from Christian. Shanahan's probably said that a couple times, but then he's never done it. He's never really stood up to him and said, hey, sit down. We're going to go with somebody else, because he's also their best back. He's their best everything. He's their best receiver, their runner, they're this, they're that. Every situation that they look at, they prefer him. I just think that it's really important that if the Niners are ever going to win a Super Bowl, they're going to have to, with Christian McCaffrey, they're going to have to get there on Super Bowl Sunday with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and he seems like he's never been healthy. So I just wouldn't finish the games with him. So if I could finish with Kiner or finish, I'll say this: I think Elijah Mitchell very well could be back. I mean, I know nobody is factoring that in, but Elijah Mitchell is in a numbers game in Kansas City, and he's probably not going to make the team. And if he doesn't make the team, I think he comes back here immediately. So I think he's a back to keep your eye on at the cut down. If Elijah gets cut by Kansas City, I think he's likely to be back. But yeah, I mean, I would say don't let, if you get a 10-point lead against Carolina with 8 minutes left, run somebody else. But I would say Christian's going to get 75% of the carries, at least 75%.
Well, when Garendo comes back, I really like his like where he sits on this roster, because I think one of the things about McCaffrey, and part of the reason why Kyle never wants to take him out. I mean, the main reason Kyle never wants to take him out is because he's the most important player to Kyle probably on the offense, outside of maybe Brock Purdy. But just him having the receiving ability, that was something that no other running back the Niners had really could match. And I think Garendo, being a high school wide receiver, having some good hands, can run a little bit in the route pattern. He can at least catch the ball. And I think that with his speed and his hands, he was going to be able to step up and really take over some more snaps, just because he was a little bit more of a dual threat. Obviously he has the injury. He's going to be out a few more weeks, but what is the status of Garendo? What was the latest we heard on him? Is he's out for weeks, right?
He looks great. He's got a shoulder injury. Shanahan was asked about it this week because somebody noticed that he looked great, and they're like, well, he looks really good at practice. And he's like, well, that's because he's got a shoulder injury and he's running out there, So yeah, he's running and he looks great, but he's got a shoulder injury, and it's at least a couple more weeks. So it's like right around week 1. You got to remember this too. There's one more preseason game. Then the Niners have 2 more weeks off.
Right. There's
a 2-week break between preseason game number 3 and regular season game number 1. Nicholas Parra says, hey, Larry, considering Lucas, I remember Victor Cruz here in the New York, New Jersey area standing out, and it definitely translated. I see something in Lucas. I mean, we all see something in Lucas. He's made big plays, but it's just a matter of, what can he do? What exactly can he do? I think he's better as a blitzer, he's more to me, he's a special teamer, situational slot blitzer. I think if you actually had him cover a top tier slot receiver, it would be disastrous. The other thing about Chase Lucas is, we can call up his football card here if we want, but it's not like this is not his first rodeo. This guy has been around. Let me see exactly.
He was in the Lions when the Niners played the Lions in the NFC Championship game in 2024. Or I guess 2023, 2024 season.
Yeah, let's see. He played at ASU. He was drafted in the 7th round by the Lions in 2022. And you know what? He's got, it's not like he's 5'11", 180 pounds. He's a sub 4.5 guy, 4.48. That's good speed. I just think he's got limitations in coverage. So, with the injuries they've had, I don't think it's outrageous at all to think he could make the team at this point. I think he very, very well could, but I personally think that he still will wind up on the practice squad. And maybe I'm wrong, because they might feel like his high profile nature of the plays he's made in the preseason will get him claimed. But my guess is he's going to wind up on the practice squad.
Larry, I want to ask you a question also, because midweek, some national voice is talking about Brandon Aiyuk when he was coming back, and his timeline kind of matched yours. I think you said early November, late October, around there somewhere. Or either the first 6 weeks. I think it was the first 6 weeks. They flashed a little video of him kind of running routes, in practice before the game today. You saw him on the sideline. Are those projections still the same, or could he come back earlier? Because he actually looked like he was, running. I don't know to what extent he's healthy, but he looked like he's moving along in his progress.
Well, I mean, he's chomping at the bit to get back out for sure. He's running around a little bit at practice, but the other thing though, it's like, you want to do right by the player.
Right.
You want to do right by the player, and you don't want him to risk recurrence. You don't want him to, you don't want to put his career. He's too young of a man with too much career in front of him. They're going to fight all urges to not rush him back. They're talking about week 6. I said, I pushed back hard on the people that suggested that he was going to be ready week 1, because that was crazy talk, because he blew out his ACL, PCL, or ACL, MCL, and meniscus. He had 3 tears. I forget if it was the MCL or the PCL, but there's 3 tears. And generally the ACL is a year-long rehab, and he tore it in week 7. So, I mean, realistically, I've been saying for several months that he's coming back at Thanksgiving. He's coming back week 10, in that range. I don't think he's coming back. He's not coming back week 1. I mean, that was absolutely nuts. Whoever even said that, it's like, come on. I mean, I don't care if somebody spun that to you. Use your head. The guy tore 3 ligaments in week 7. He's going to come back in week 1 from 3 ligament tears. I mean, that was never going to happen. So don't put that out there. And then I pushed back hard on that. And I said it's going to be more like week 10. Shanahan said this week, hey, I put them all in the same category. They're all right around week 6 for me. He's going to start the year on PUP, which means he has to be out 4. Then he can come back from week 5 on. So from week 5
is a short, yeah. Week 5 is a short week, which is
right.
So he would definitely not come back that week.
They'll open the window for the possibility in week 5, but as I said, I'll put everybody's got to guess. I'll put week 10 down, and if I'm wrong by a week or 2, it will only be a week or 2. He could be there week 8, but I'm going to say week 10. I'm going to say roughly Thanksgiving. And guess what? The Niners, if they really were doing right by this guy, would just say, take the whole year. Because realistically, you're going to put a guy on the field in week 10 against guys who have been playing football since July, and he hasn't played football. So, I mean, guys, you heard Kittle today on the broadcast talk about, hey, the first preseason game and, this and that and, how it feels. And so, I mean, realistically, everybody else is going to be in like playoff mode, and he's going to be in like week 1 training camp mode. So, I mean, if they really wanted to do right by him, they would shut him down and say, we'll see you next year. There's a lot of pressure to win in the NFL, and he wants to get back. But I would say I would rather him come back week 1 next year than week 1 this year.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would say
that's a smarter play.
You wouldn't
if
be
you really
right.
care about the guy and you care about the investment. You have a sizable investment in this player. So if he gets hurt again, the joke's on you. So
obviously, don't rush him back.
Managing his health is kind of a little bit more important than just rush him back for the blankety blank game. That really doesn't matter.
They are rushing him back. I don't think that they are going to rush him back. And I don't think that they're necessarily doing him. They're not doing him right by sitting him for the entire year. If the doctor says he's healthy to play, and they can give him a snap count, and they can ease him into it, like that seems the right play. Like I feel like if Brandon Aiyuk is sitting
once again,
if Brandon Aiyuk's sitting there, if he's sitting there healthy, saying I'm ready to go, the doctor's cleared me, and you're like, it's week 11, but you're not going to play till next year. How is that doing right by him? I don't.
Well, first of all, easing him in sounds good, but it's not an NFL concept. In the NFL, there's only so many guys that are eligible to play every week. If you're eligible to play, you need to play. If a guy is eligible to play and he begs out, it's like, oh my God, he was eligible to play. We made him active. And in the 11th hour, he begged out and he left us in a lurch. So, I mean, this idea of easing him in, you're going to have to activate him and go one man short to ease him in, as you say.
But you'll do that for a $30 million a year, $120 million wide receiver that you just paid. Like you'll eat the roster spot.
When you have the kind of investment that they have in him, you should protect your investment and your player over your competitive situation. That once you get into, there's all kinds of guys in the NFL who play when they shouldn't play. There's all kinds of guys who risk things they shouldn't risk. There's all kinds of teams out there that put guys on the field because they're desperate. All I'm saying is don't do that. Don't do that. Treat this guy like a pro. Treat this guy well. You have his career in your hands. Do not treat it recklessly. Be responsible with Brandon Aiyuk's career is what I'm saying.
I just think that there's a responsible, there's definitely a responsible way, and a way that you're not risking him re-injuring it by rushing him back for him to play this year. I don't think that he has to be out the entire season. Otherwise, you're risking re-injury because you're rushing him back. Like, I don't think that's.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't know. We don't know how we. I mean, that's not going to look very good if he comes back and he gets hurt in the first game.
Well, yeah, if he played week 1 and he got injured and it was like, wow, I can't believe he's playing week 1 already. Like, yeah, that would be a bad look. That's like when Aaron Rodgers was going to play in the same season that he tore his Achilles. It's like if he re-injured himself in that season, everyone would be like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, why did he come back the same year that he tore his Achilles?
I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure to win. And if they're not winning, there's going to be even more pressure to get him out there. And I'm saying resist that and get him out there when he's ready and only when he's ready, and do not rush him back. And if you think he might be ready, give him another week or two. And
yeah, that's fair.
Because
that's fair.
You have him for your own good. I mean, you have him under contract into the future. Antonio Seabrook, do you all remember the Tony Montana squad? Yeah, the Blake Costanzo and Harbaugh's special team unit was really, really good. B. Kirsch kind of looked good until the injury. I thought Wilson looked solid, and Vaughn showed some burst. Any chance they use the injury to redshirt Kiner so another team doesn't pluck him from the practice squad? Well, yeah, I mean, redshirt, meaning give up the whole year, put him on the IR. I mean, I guess well, I'm not sure what the
Cam Latu treatment.
I mean, he's hurt. If he's hurt in camp, do they have? I think he can just.
They have two.
Put him on the PUP, and he can sit there for 4 weeks.
They have 2 guys that they can put on the IR designated to return on the cut down.
Right. So,
but they wouldn't do that for. I mean, maybe they would. I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it looks like their best back not named McCaffrey. I mean, I'll say this too. I've been in practice. He's looked better than the other guys. He's looked better than Taylor. Taylor's gotten more run than him, but to me, he looks better. And I thought he looked better than James. So we'll see. I'm kind of wonder about James's durability. We'll see. I mean, I don't know too many running backs that go out with fingers. Usually, if you have a finger injury, you keep it rolling. Jake Moody, game winner from the logo. There you go. Jake hit the game winner, and so all is right in the world. Okay, so what's the big concern? What's the big concern?
Let's talk about the Jake Moody thing. I feel like that's the one topic that we haven't hit yet. Just that whole saga. Obviously, Jake Moody misses the first field goal from what was it, 44 or maybe was it 46 was the first field goal? You have the note
53
on that?
He missed
53, misses that field goal. Everyone freaks out. The whole Twitter, the whole world is just like, Jake Moody, here we go. I'm seeing people saying Jake Moody's in mid-season form, like all this other stuff. It's just memes, just everywhere. Hilarious stuff. Then he has the, what was it, 26 or 30?
We made a 30-yarder.
He made a 30-yarder, but it looked suspicious, right?
No, that was the first one. The first one he made was a 30-yarder. Was that suspicious? No. That one went in.
It was the field goal after the miss.
Then he missed. When did he miss? He missed.
Here, I'll pull it.
He missed.
The second and third attempt.
There it is. He missed on the 53-yarder on their 4th series, and it wasn't close.
Yeah.
It was not close.
And then the field goal after that, he barely made it. And it was from close distance. So people are like, Jesus.
Then that was in the first half. Then he made one in the second half from 26 yards out. But if it had been from 30 yards out, it would have missed.
Right. That's what it was.
So in reality, he kind of missed two, because he missed a 53-yarder, and he would have missed from 36 yards if it had, or even 30 yards, but he made the 26-yarder. To me, what made me kind of uncomfortable was Shanahan bypassed kicking a field goal
when they were down 3.
When they were down 3 to go for it
on 3rd and
where
4th and 3. It was 4th and 3.
Yeah, it was 4th and 3, and he basically he didn't go for it. He didn't go for the field, or he went for it instead of going for the field goal, because he didn't want to go with Jake Moody there. I mean, I don't know why. Yeah, it was 4th and goal, and from the 3. And he didn't go for the field goal, and he had a 4th and 2 from the like 25, 24, something like that. And he instead had Jones come back and have a pass play to Tongas for the first down. So it's like that one right there. Why are you not kicking a field goal on 4th and 2?
So it was 4th and goal from the 3. And they weren't going to kick a field goal, but then there was a false start penalty, moved him back, and then they ended up kicking a field goal. Right.
Eventually, they did kick the field goal.
Right.
But earlier on 4th and 2 from the 24, instead of going for what would have been like a 40-something yard field goal, high 40s, they went for it on 4th down, and Jones hit Tongas, which was a bizarre call, right? Because it was. What was it, 13-10? I guess it was 13-10. And the ball game was 13-10. It was granted, it was a third quarter, but 4th down, he went for it. At that point, do you think, I don't know. The Niners, we know the deal. They took this guy in the 3rd round. They've been trying to justify it ever since. They have these nominal competitions. The competition this summer wasn't a competition. If it was, then Joseph would have won it, because he actually made a higher percentage of the kicks. So it wasn't a real competition. It was a bogus competition. So they didn't really have a real competition. They had a fake competition. And then they just awarded Jake Moody the kicking job because they want to justify the fact that they invested a 3rd round draft choice in a kicker. And they've been doing this. And this is ultimately why you don't do this, because it adds more pressure to an already pressure-packed situation. Why, if you draft a kicker high, you then want to justify that. And to hear Shanahan talk about it, he's like, hey, man, we had a kicker in Atlanta, and, we cut him, and then he went somewhere else and became a great kicker for the next 10 years. So that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that they're going to cut Jake Moody. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to become Justin Tucker. And they're afraid that they're going to look bad. But the drama that has been associated with this kicker, he makes them in practice. He just doesn't make them in the games.
Well, the thing about kickers in the NFL is that a majority of them are completely disposable. So you only have a kicker that hits kicks. You know what I mean? Like, no one owes anything to their kicker. You see the Dallas Cowboys were, what are they? They had their kicker before they got Aubrey had missed. What was it? It was like 3 field goals in a row and an extra point in a playoff game. The next day he was cut. The very next day. It's like, that's how kickers are treated in the NFL. And it sucks that they get treated like that, but it's like you either hit kicks or you don't. But in the Niners situation, it's unique where they spend a significant draft capital on a guy where he misses kicks. You can't cut him because then you cut a 3rd round pick. Like, that's a guy that a 3rd round pick for a special teamer, that's like a 1st round pick. So it's like you're basically billing this guy to be the best kicker in the NFL. It's like drafting the 1st pick overall in the NFL draft and then him becoming just an average NFL player. Like he's
just
at this
bizarre.
point,
It's a very bizarre situation. You're giving your 3rd round kicker a longer rope than you gave Trey freaking Lance.
Right.
You know, I mean, you invested multiple number 1s in Trey Lance and you kicked him to the curb well before you're kicking this kicker to the curb. I mean, why does your kicker get so many chances? I mean, here's the bottom line on this thing too. His kicks they're not going down the middle. They're going angled to the side. And it's like
the game winner was nice. I'll give him that.
The game winner was nice, but I mean, other kickers are just money down the middle all the time. Like 55 yards in the NFL is nothing. These guys make these kicks routinely, but Moody struggles on anything over 45, and he struggles in practice. He's missed multiple 50-yard kicks this summer, but he won the kicking competition.
It's the highs and lows of Jake Moody. He didn't in the Super Bowl. He hit a kick that set the record for the longest field goal ever hit in the Super Bowl, and it's just hilarious because this guy is such a roller coaster. But
it's a dome. You're supposed to make all your kicks inside of a dome. There's no wind at all. You have totally controlled environment, right? I mean, if you're supposed to be easy to kick in a dome, right? I mean, the one that he made today from 26, that was the biggest nightmare. It wasn't just the miss; it was the make from 26 that wouldn't have been good from 36.
Wouldn't have been good from 29.
Right. It's like, what do you do? What do you do?
I mean, it's a situation for sure. And it sucks because it comes at the expense of the 49ers needing to roll this guy out in meaningful games and just pray that he gets kicks. And that's the thing that sucks is because no one wants Jake Moody to not be a good kicker. We all want Jake Moody to be a great kicker. It's not like we're rooting for him to miss. I want him to be the best fucking kicker in the entire league. It just sucks that when you put Jake Moody out on the field past 45 yards, it's a complete question mark at this point. I mean, look at the statistics. I mean, I know today he was 5 of 6, so people can run. You can clip this and say you're a fucking idiot because he hit the game winner when 5 of 6. He missed 1 kick. Look at last season, bro. They lost multiple games because of this guy. He missed multiple kicks, and he's a literal complete question mark beyond 45. That's a fact. That is just a fact right now until it's not a fact. And when it's not a fact, I'll give it to him. But that's just a fact.
I was thinking about it. Somebody said to me, how many kicks would Moody need to make before you would feel confident in him? And it's like a great question. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. To me, it's not about the number that he makes. It's about how he strikes it. If he keeps striking it where it's moving right to left or left to right, I mean, hit it straight. Can you hit it straight? I mean, if you can hit it straight, I would feel better about it if he just hit it straight and it just slightly missed. He's got a big leg, but it's like it's moving left to right. It's moving right to left. It doesn't, it's once again, the team reacted the way they reacted, partly because they know the same thing that we know, that he's been a circus.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously 59 game winner, but I mean, they know that this guy's career, believe me, the players understand it and they're rooting for him, but I don't know. I mean, they obviously ended this competition, this non-competition competition. They ended it and gave the job to the guy, it's funny too. Cause I mean, there were guys like myself who were asking, hey, is this even really a competition, or is this just a guy who's here to keep Jake company and blah, blah, blah? And I was told by so many people associated with the Niners, this is a legitimate competition, blah, blah, blah. And then they kick for a couple weeks. Moody makes fewer kicks than Joseph, and Joseph gets cut. But it is a legit competition, and I'm going to fight you if you even suggest that it's not.
It's a competition in the sense where if Jake Moody imploded and missed all of his kicks and his leg stopped, it started atrophying, and he had little legs, and like I don't even know, like in that situation they would get rid of him. But yeah, I mean, it's like they were gonna keep him. Like it would make so much less sense for them to cut Jake Moody, keep Greg Joseph, than to cut it. It wouldn't make sense. Like because Jake Moody would get snagged, and where's Greg Joseph right now? He's just probably sitting in the Hilton.
I mean, that's a great question. Where is Greg Joseph right now? If I told you that Greg Joseph was sitting at the Santa Clara Hyatt, would you believe me? I mean, I don't know where the guy lives. The guy lives probably somewhere else. But what if you saw that Greg Joseph was living at the Santa Clara Hyatt? Would you be shocked by that? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be at all. I mean, I'm not even, think about it this way. Somebody said to me, hey, look, this competition's not over. They need a roster spot. They know what Greg Joseph can do. He's been kicking in this league for years. If they, they don't need to see him competing against Moody. They can just cut him, pick up another defensive lineman that they desperately need to get through this camp, have him sit at a hotel at the Hyatt in downtown Santa Clara for a few weeks. And if Jake Moody whizzes down his leg, then you call Greg Joseph back and he could probably be kicking in his hotel room if he wants. I mean,
that's how this always works, though. It's like the Niners are going to bring back the familiar face. That's what they've done with a lot of these signings. They brought back Shaquille Brown. They're bringing back not Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. Like they're bringing and the other running back, Keyshawn Vaughn. Like they're bringing back guys that know the team at this point. And like this was bringing in Greg Joseph was almost like a way to be like, here, meet Brant Boyer, meet Kyle, like. Meet the team, because like if we basically if things go bad this season, this will be your home. Like, you know what I mean? It was like a mini job interview.
Maybe like the Warriors having an injury, and here comes Alan Smileygeach. Do they really think that Alan Smileygeach is the best player in the world, or was it just a guy that they kind of know of, that they had his number nearby? Jake Moody says, "I earned that kicker spot, Krug." Nicholas Parra says Moody's look doesn't inspire confidence. I mean, there's no doubt about that. 49er fan, Moody's got to go. He barely made the chip shot. MSQ, kickers play like golfers. LOL. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it is a mental grind, and there are golfers that out of nowhere just kind of like, hey, what happened to this guy? Well, he got the yips. I mean, Sergio Garcia's got the yips. I mean, there's he sits there and before every putt, he takes like 19 waggles. Well, why is that? Because he's mentally fried because of all the missed putts. So, yeah, I mean, I do think kicking is a lot like golf. It's very mental. You're in your head, and it's about repeating it's like free throw shooting. I mean, you saw Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson was a damn good player in college. He got to the finals in a high-profile situation with Orlando, and he missed high-profile free throws, and he never really recovered from it. Ben Simmons literally plays hide and seek. Everybody else is playing basketball. Ben Simmons is playing hide and seek. He's like, I'm over here, but don't foul me. And I'm going to drive, but if somebody's going to come over and foul me, I'm going to pass. And if I'm going to drive and I'm going to get fouled, I'm going to pass again. And it's like because he's mentally fried about the free throw thing. So it becomes very mental. It becomes very mental, I think, over time. And so,
I mean, the 49ers have a small margin for error. I mean, the fact that we're talking about their kicker is like, wait a minute, we need to be, focusing on 6 rookies who have to play. Your field goal kicker is supposed to make kicks. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that, he went 4 for 5 and there's still trepidation about him because he missed a very makeable kick kind of takes us back to where we were last year. And that's concerning to me. I thought they was going to cut him after last year and just start anew, but they brought him back and he was doing fine in practice, and then he missed a kick today. So the fact that it's like a cloud it's like that, that cloud on Charlie Brown, who's that, Linus or whomever has the cloud.
Yeah, Pigpen.
Yeah, I mean, that gets to the point where, karma does mean something in sports to me. I believe in karma. So it's not that he won't be a great kicker, but it might not be with the 49ers. And if he is, then he needs to go out and make 20 kicks in a row.
Yeah. Shut everybody up. I mean, here's the thing. He's a young guy, and he's got a bright future. Right. But none of that means shit. You know what I mean? None of that means anything. And here's why. Because you could go right now to the team that has an effective old kicker and say, here, we'll trade you Jake Moody for your effective old kicker. And you can have a 25-year-old kicker with a booming leg, and we're going to solve your kicking situation for the next 10 years because you got a young kicker with a strong leg. They would hang up the phone, they would laugh in your face, and then they would call all their buddies telling them that you called trying to make this preposterous trade. Nobody would make that trade. So I don't want to hear about his fucking youth, and I don't want to hear about his potential, and I don't want to hear about his big leg, because none of it cashes. None of it matters. You call the Raiders right now, that Spytech GM, and say, hey, I'll give you Jake Moody, and I'll give you a 5th-round pick. And how about you send Daniel Carlson over here? You guys aren't going anywhere. We'll take Daniel Carlson, and we'll give you Jake Moody. He's young. He's got a big leg. They wouldn't even, they'd laugh in your face. They would laugh in your face. So I don't want to hear about his youth. I don't want to hear about his upside. I don't want to hear about his potential or his big leg. None of it spends in the NFL in 2025. It's all fool's gold, and it's all, and you can't make that trade. So
at the end of the day, though, what's the situation the Niners are in now? Like, or not? What's the situation? What would you do in the situation? I feel like at this point, like the way that it's gone, you're just gonna ride him one more year. You just gotta ride it one more year. And if he starts to implode, I think that's when you pull the plug. I think this is the year where if he implodes, you pull the plug. If he doesn't, then great. Last year was too early. And it was injury related.
I mean, it's just, how many chances do you deserve? You
can't lose games because of your kicker.
Didn't the guy miss an extra point in the Super Bowl in a dome? It got blocked, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He to me, I guess the solution is the solution for everybody, him, us, and everybody, is just make kicks. But what if he doesn't? What do you how long do you wait? Do you give him if he, I mean, it would be one thing. It's like the Niners had Ray Wersching in the 80s, right? Ray Wersching had a pop gun leg, not much of a leg. He made everything inside of 45.
Yep.
But he really didn't make too many outside of 45. But it made it so that Walsh knew where he had to get to on the field before he could attempt a field goal. It's kind of like the 80s version of Robbie Gould. It's like Robbie wasn't going to hit from 55. But guess what? Robbie was going to hit from 48. And you knew it. So if you could just get him out there, you could win games with him.
What was the Robbie Gould stat? It was like he never missed a playoff field goal over 45 yards or something like that. It was something ridiculous like that. I gotta find that.
Yeah, he didn't miss a lot. Period. He was just very, very accurate. But I mean, it's like, would you rather have an accurate kicker who couldn't connect from 47 or longer, or would you rather have a guy with a booming leg who could make it from 59? But he's a circus and anywhere outside of 45, and you're just sitting there crossing your fingers and hoping.
Robbie Gould in his career during the playoffs, 29 of 29 on field goal attempts and 40 of 40 on extra points.
Wow. In what? In the playoffs?
In the playoffs. Never missed in the playoffs.
He's never missed in the playoffs. Nicholas Parra, in a year with slim margins, this fan base just can't afford to have someone like Moody on this team. He simply needs a change of scenery. Go Niners. And yet, you know what? They are going down with the ship. I mean, they drafted this guy in the 3rd round, and they are going down with him. Whether he's, Trey Lance has moved on, but Jake Moody,
and that's like that. It sounds crazy, but like that might be the right thing to do. I think if you draft a kicker in the 1st round, you do go down with him. It's like
first round.
No, in the 3rd round. Sorry, but what I was gonna say is like it's kind of like drafting a player in the 1st round. Like you're gonna ride that player until he's proven to not be the player.
That's what the Raiders did. The Raiders drafted Janikowski in the 1st round, and he struggled early his first couple of years, and at some point he became a decent kicker, and had a pretty darn good career. But those first 2 years were brutal,
that's a good comparison too. I mean, you're right. Janikowski was bad early, but wound up kicking for 2 decades in the NFL.
Yeah.
We got this one from Bill M. Ravens picked Tyler Loop in the 6th round, and he looks great. Yeah, I mean, it's like, that's the thing. I mean, Anders Carlson looked pretty good last year. They signed him off the street, and then they cut him, and then Jake Moody missed 3 field goals.
Well, the reason why it's ridiculous to draft a kicker early and for him to not play well, this whole situation, is because the Cowboys might have the best kicker in the league, and he was an accountant. So it's like, what are we
got him
doing?
at a tryout camp. Didn't they find him in a tryout?
Guy? Wasn't it a soccer guy?
I thought they found him in a tryout camp.
He was an accountant.
You're talking about Brandon Aubrey, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he hits moonshots. He rarely misses. The guy is awesome.
It was ridiculous. MLS to Cowboys kicker. He played soccer at Notre Dame, had a minor stint in MLS, then transitioned to becoming a software engineer. And then his wife's suggestion sparked his interest in football kicking. After finding a coach and dedicating himself to training, he played in the USFL before landing with the Cowboys.
Yeah. That's a major story.
California for Trump says it's effing crazy we draft a kicker in the 3rd, but can't draft an offensive tackle. Gosh. Someone said, LOL, get Ray Worshing to teach Moody.
The offensive line must have got chewed out last week, though, Larry, because they played a lot better this week. I mean, the 3 false starts is ridiculous. I'm sure he was embarrassed by that, but collectively, because I think the Raiders are going to be much improved. I mean, I think the Raiders will probably win 8 or 9 games this year. Maybe
Really?
10.
I mean, it's a good division. I think the Raiders are in a terrific division. I mean, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. I don't know. I bet you the Raiders don't win a single division game this year.
I agree with you, Frank. I think their team is much, much better this year. But yeah, that they have the toughest division in football, probably.
Because here's the thing. I don't see anybody in that division putting up like ridiculous numbers. I think they'll win games because of the personnel, but I think they're going to be somewhere between 25 and 32 points. I don't think you're going to hear like Ariel, the San Diego Chargers, Air Coryell type numbers. I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a grind because I watched that defense today. The Raiders defense, they look a lot like Seattle's defense, and they look a lot like the 49ers defense. They're not going to wow you with pass rusher. I mean, obviously the Raiders have a great one, but they're not going to make as many mistakes. And I think that's going to keep them competitive in games, and it's going to come down to, I think, field goals. I actually believe that.
We got this one too, super. 49er fan, Purdy to Pearsall looking good. We've been going for an hour and 37 minutes. We're going to go for about 15, 20 more minutes, and then we'll call it. But I do want to ask you guys, if we talked a lot about Moody, and I don't want to, we don't want to make this all about the kicker. Just because, I mean, one, it's not going to change anything. He's here. I mean, they're invested. We all know that. If I'd said, give me your 1 or 2 most positive developments of today, give me your 1 or 2 most negative developments, like real developments, and it doesn't have to be something that we've already talked about. It could be something that we haven't talked about, and it could be somebody we haven't talked about. But if I say biggest positives, biggest negatives, what do you go? What direction do you guys want to go?
I got one, or I got 2, I guess. But we did already talk about this. I'd say the real positive development is definitely Nick Martin just really flashing out there. He was the player that everyone was talking about being the bust, or not the bust, but just not having a good game. He had a lot of missed tackles, and I'll stand with that. Like, yes, he flashed, and I think there's some valid criticisms. He did miss a lot of plays. The positive of that was that he was at the ball, and I think today he showed that he can be at the ball and make the tackle. So that's the positive development there. The negative development for me, though, is definitely just the running back injuries. This is a really running back injured room right now. And I know a lot of them are just a few weeks, but at this point, they're really grasping at straws in terms of the depth of this room and what they can do there. In a year where Christian McCaffrey's coming back Christian McCaffrey is obviously a year older and coming back from injuries. Like you want to be able to take the load off of him. But if you're rolling into week 1 with basically no legitimate backup, you're kind of forcing McCaffrey into that 100% touches category, which maybe is a good thing, but maybe it's a good thing for that game, for that one specific game, but I'm not sure if that's the best plan for the entire season.
To me, I think the overwhelming positive is the quarterback play. I think the 49ers got really good quarterback play today. I mean, Jones had the one pick, but completed a high percentage. Purdy, I thought, looked really sharp. I thought Carter Bradley bounced back. I mean, he showed some amazing arm strength. 8 of 13, that's a low 60% completion percentage. I think this is a good quarterback room. I really do. I think it's going to be 2 guys on the final roster. Bradley gets cut, gets re-signed and put on the practice squad. Then you get Curtis Rourke. So I think overall, I really like the Niner quarterback room this year. I think it's a really good quarterback room. That was to me the first positive. The second positive I thought was the Corey Kiner run. I mean, Corey Kiner, he had the injury, unfortunately, but he had a 19-yard run that looked really good. And I think this is a really good back. I think they really got a steal there. I think he's going to make the team. So I love the Corey Kiner run. And then, I agree with your thing on Nick Martin, but just to go in a different direction, the Niners signed a bunch of D linemen and they're trying a bunch of guys, right? And some of these guys are not real and some of them are. But I think Trevis Gibson is kind of a nice addition. I think he's got the ability to play in the NFL. He had 7.5 sacks in a season a couple years ago with the Bears, and he's not old. He got a sack. He got a hit on the quarterback, got a couple tackles. I think Gibson looked pretty good. I liked what I saw from him. So that was a real positive. And then I thought the overall, you look at the Niner receivers, if they're not going to have their main guys, I thought a lot of guys really stepped up, right? I mean, Debo's moved on and you don't have JJ's holding out or whatever. And then you've got the injury situation with Aiyuk, but still, I mean, Robbie Chosen stepped up. He had almost 100 yards receiving today. Demarcus Robinson stepped up. Ricky Pearsall stepped up. He looked really, really good. Russell Gage stepped up. Isaiah Hodgins stepped up. And, I don't know if any of the other guys are real, like Tariq Owens or Junior Bergen was very disappointing to me today. I don't think there's much there. But I do like the fact that the Niners, even without their receivers, Brock Purdy looked like if you gave him some combination of just veteran, decent receivers, that he might be able to make a few plays. So I was encouraged by Kiner, really encouraged by some of the defensive players, but I also thought this was a good night for the wide receivers, considering they've had mass injuries here. No Cowing, none of these, I thought Cowing needs to play at some point, but I like the fact that they do have some receivers that can still make plays even with their top guys down. So that's kind of what I and then Moody, of course, is a negative in that he missed one. He easily could have missed 2. The ball is not coming off his foot with any consistency, and it still brings me a lot of trepidation when I see him lining up kicks. So that's what stood out to me. Frank, what do you got?
When I think about last year and I transition to this year, I like the 49ers coaching staff. I think everybody that they have right now is someone who you expect excellence from. Last year we talked ad nauseum about special teams. We're not having those conversations right now, even though the season hasn't started yet. Robert Saleh is a head coach in the NFL, and he will get another opportunity. I have tremendous confidence schematically from him as the defensive coordinator, and I think that his players are playing harder, playing smarter, because there's a higher level of expectation. Kubiak now, thus far, supposedly is calling the offense, and Shanahan is being the head coach. I like that balance because I think it alleviates a lot of the pressure that maybe Shanahan was carrying last year. Will that change as the season progresses? We don't know. But when I saw Kubiak today, I thought of his brother yesterday, who was calling an excellent game. Who was he from? Tennessee, right?
Seattle.
Okay, Seattle. He was great also. So I like the team's coaching staff. From a negative perspective, with all of these auxiliary wide receivers playing well, the fact that Jauan Jennings seems like a holdout to me, and there's no conversation around that bothers me, because it's kind of a Kaminga Warriors type of thing. And this team needs everybody moving in the right direction. If he's hurt, fine. Still, there should be some resolution with regards to his contract, because it feels like they're just like, you know what, F it. This is your salary. We're not going to talk about it. And he's going to get to a point where he has egg on his face and he sees these guys out there playing well. Is he going to stumble in and be disgruntled? See, I want that to be resolved somewhere or the other.
What do you think about that, Kev? I mean, what's your thought on that? Is the JJ thing? Is he going to get signed? Is he not going to get signed? It's kind of a weird situation. We've talked a lot about it the last couple of days, but it's going to take a very unique compromise, because I don't think the Niners want to rip up the $7.5 million base contract that he's got for this year, because I don't think they want to set that precedent. And I don't think that Drew Rosenhaus, the agent for Jennings, wants to have Jennings sign any new agreement that takes him out of his free agency next March. So that means that it's going to be, if you're not going to redo the deal short term because the Niners don't want it, and you're not going to redo the deal and add years on because that would take him out of free agency this year, it's almost like, it's almost like Rosenhaus is saying, we want a big money long-term extension, or the Niners have to either kowtow to that or just say no. And then if you say no, it's like turning down Draymond Green or something for a contract extension and then having him in your locker room. He's going to be, he's emotional, he's volatile, he's a leader. But if you don't take care of those guys, then they can become negative influences. So, I mean, the Warriors, if you notice, the Warriors did not trade for Jimmy Butler and then just say, screw it, he can play on his contract. We don't care if he's happy. No. They said, we'll trade for Jimmy Butler. We'll make sure he is happy. And I think Jauan Jennings is very much like a Jimmy Butler as far as he's a very powerful presence in the room. So I don't think that he can come back without, getting an extension. And if he does, will he be all in, or will he be like Mooney Ward last year, who kind of admitted that he wasn't all in when he knew that he wasn't getting re-signed? So this is a very complicated situation.
I wouldn't say it is a very complicated situation. I'd also add it's a very pivotal situation, and it's a very important situation. And I think that this sets a precedent, because this situation, it's unique because the Niners have to make a hard stance on this. Like they're either caving in or they're holding strong. And this has been an offseason of, we're going to be ruthless. That was the word that was always used. They're going to be ruthless. They're not caving into anyone. And now you got a guy in Jauan Jennings who you love his attitude. You love the way he plays. You love what he stands for. You love him as a person. You love everything about him. But you just gave him a contract last year. So and he had one good season. So you're going to pay money to a guy just because he had one good season? What kind of precedent does that set if you're just going to cave in and pay every player after one good season they have?
No, the problem is, Kev,
this is a huge deal for them. This is a huge, precedent setting contract.
The problem is the valuations of NFL teams just came out midweek. And the 49ers are worth $9 billion.
Yeah.
They got the money.
They do have the money. Well, they have yeah. I mean, when Kyle was asked about this, because they have so much money, he said, hey, well, it's a little bit more complicated in the ICs with the cap, and they have a lot of cap, but with the bonuses hitting in, it's not going to be as much and all this stuff. But I don't know. I believe it. I believe the Kawakami article when he's saying it's just bad timing, because it is bad timing. You just paid Brock Purdy. You said you're going to be ruthless. This guy you paid last offseason had one good year, and a year where you had no good receivers, you had no good separation, and you didn't win any fucking games. Now he's going to demand that he's going to be one of the higher paid wide receivers. that's a really, really cave-in moment for the Niners if they were to pay him big money. I think that there's some compromise that can be made, but with the agent that he has, I don't know if Jauan's going to take a small bump in salary, because I think in reality what Jauan Jennings deserves is maybe a few more years of surety and a little bit of a bump in his value, because he proved that he's a very valuable player to this wide receiver room. But in reality, a good wide receiver room doesn't have to rely on a Jauan Jennings, in my opinion.
Larry wants to keep Aiyuk out for a year.
I do, because I don't think they're going anywhere this year. I'm getting that vibe that they're not going anywhere. I mean, Shanahan's talking about barely making the playoffs. We've got one of the easiest schedules the NFL has seen in the last 20 years, and yet he's talking about, well, if we can just kind of try to get into these playoffs. I mean, that's the question. It's like all these questions I think would be easier answered if you knew what the Niners really were. We don't really know what the Niners are. On one hand, they've got Trent Williams, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, and all these stars. So on one hand, you're like, oh, dude, they things break right. They could be in the Super Bowl at home, and you can convince yourself that they're a Super Bowl team because they got all these stars. But then you look around and you're like, they're freaking developmental. They're developmental on the defensive line. They could be developmental on the defensive side of the ball. They could be 8-9 new starters out of 11 on the defensive side of the ball. So it's like the Warriors had a struggle where they got caught in between. The Niners look like they're in a struggle where they're caught in between. Because, let's be honest here. If you knew that the 49ers were really in a transition year, developmental year, you'd trade Jauan Jennings because he's a free agent at the end of the year. And you definitely wouldn't sign him because he's a free agent at the end of the year, because you're going nowhere. It's all about the future. So, I mean, you do have all these young guys, Cowing and Watkins and all these young guys. So what is this year about? If this year's about the future, then maybe kick Jauan Jennings down the road to another team and get a draft pick, because he's a free agent at the end of the year. You're probably not going to be able to sign him. Or if it is all about this year, then go after some other guys. Then you go after Zadarius Smith. Try to add something to this mix. You got $48 million of cap room. You're like third in the NFL in available cap room. But it's like they're caught in between. It's like, well, we're not really sure. Are we contenders? Are we not contenders? Are we in it? Are we not in it? Are we playing for this year? Are we playing for future years? So they're like the Warriors. They're like, well, I mean, if things break right, yeah, but I mean, look at the Warriors needed tons of things to break right. And guess what? The Niners are going to need tons of things to break right. Is it possible? It's possible if you get into the playoffs, right? Then you got all these veterans. You got a quarterback that you like.
You have the A-list talent, yeah.
Yeah, you got A-list talent. If you can get into the playoffs, anything can happen. But you get the feeling that getting into the playoffs is going to be a freaking chore. It's going to be a major chore. And then the question is,
they do have the schedule for it, though.
If you have Jauan Jennings and he wants a big money deal, and let's say Kev's right, his agent wants a big money deal. I mean, wouldn't it be the smarter play to call up Tennessee and say, hey, here you go, Tennessee. You got Cam Ward and you need a receiver. Give us Alec Ayamanor and a 3rd-round pick, and we're rebuilding, and we'll continue to rebuild, and we'll save the money. And I mean, that seems like a logical play if this isn't your year. But if this is your year and you got a team that you think you can win with, then it doesn't make sense to do that. And then figure it out with JJ and get him satisfied, get him whatever dollars he needs, and let's go. But it's like, I get the feeling that they lack conviction on like who they are and what they're going to be. And you know what I mean? It's like, are they in it, or are they going to I get the feeling that whatever happens this year, they're going to be like, you guys didn't see that? Like, if they win, it's going to be like, you guys thought we weren't contenders? We got all these players. But if they lose, it's going to be like, you guys thought we were going to contend? You're crazy. We have all these young players. So I get the feeling that they're kind of giving themselves like total flexibility for anything that happens this year. And I think that they know they have cap room, but they're afraid to spend it because they're like, well, we don't want to be all in this year because what if we're no good?
I think they're just being real, though. I think they're just being real. Like, you can't be the team that's going to win the Super Bowl every year. You're not the Chiefs. I think that you have a chance to win. Yeah, but I think they have the chance to win the Super Bowl with the players on their team, but they don't also have to be like, this is the year, like we're gonna go and get every like 2 years ago.
A free agent at the end of the year, then Kev. If he really wants an extension, shouldn't they be shopping him? If they really are realist about their year and they're kind of in a rebuild,
they need him.
They need to throw the ball to Watkins and Pearsall and Cowing and their younger receivers, don't they? If they're a developmental team.
Yeah, but they can do that with Jauan Jennings on the team. I think they need.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think they need him on the roster for this year.
If they're in it.
Yeah, and I think they believe that they are in it, but maybe they don't. There's just a difference, and you heard Kyle say it on SiriusXM. Like he understands what the roster is. 2 years ago, when they went to the Super Bowl, before that year, they were like this, like we are, like this is the year. They were getting Chase Young at the deadline. Like they're making bigger splash plays on the roster. Like this year, they understand they're a younger team, so they understand. I mean, I remember there was a quote from was it either Shanahan or Lynch that like we're gonna take our lumps, and like that got blown out of proportion. But it's like they're gonna take the growing pains this season, whatever that looks like.
I don't think the 49ers ever go into a season internally saying that this is just going to be like a random year. I mean, these are like professional coaches that live and die with what's happening right now. When you look within their division, the fact that Matthew Stafford is having some serious back problems and literally could be one hit from being done, that's real. Nobody's talking about it. But, I mean, the 49ers, as talented as Arizona is, they feel they can beat them. The Rams are a really talented team, but they're not the same team without Matthew Stafford. So I think that's a factor. I think the 49ers are kind of selling high internally and exteriorly, maybe limiting the expectations a little bit because of they're coming off a tough season. But I think that they expect to be able to compete this year.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Last superhero Laser Beam says Moody just won the game on a 59-yarder, and you want to cut him for a career 82% guy. What's Joseph's most clutch career kick? I don't know. But if you feel confident about Moody, that's great. I don't know. He made the kick when it mattered today, but do you feel confident? I mean, the short kick that he made from 26 would not have been good from 36.
Right.
36 has got to be a gimme. When 36 isn't a gimme, that's not good. That's not good. So I hear what you're saying, Laser Beam, but that's too simplistic. It's like, well, he just won the game on a 59-yarder. Oh, in that case, then he's the guy. I mean, it's like we've seen him. Kev said it. He made a 55. He set the record. He's got the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, but he missed an extra point in a dome, and they lost by 1. So anyway,
Larry, a question. Somebody said there's 500 likes, and they saw that. I can't see it. Can you see that? What is it?
I'm not seeing that either. But
okay,
where is that? Where is that, Kev? Where's the likes? Where do you see them? We can't hear you, Kev. You're muted.
My bad. Yep. Yeah, we have 517 likes on the YouTube.
Where does it say that? If everybody could hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. We appreciate that. I know there's a lot of hosts that come out and say, "Hey, hit like and subscribe." And
we're wrapping up here. 2 hours in.
Yeah, we're wrapping up right here. But I just wanted to say, if everybody, we got 2,500 people roughly watching. If you can all hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Most of the people who watch us regularly are never subscribed to the channel, but we always appreciate it if you take the time to do it. If you hit that notification bell every time we go live, you don't have to miss a minute of the Krug Show. But that is going to do it for us. Frank, tell people about the In the Dungeon show. Frank does his own YouTube channel. He's got his own show. It's called In the Dungeon. It's fantastic. Frank, tell people how often you go if they're catching you for the first time, and what kind of content you're putting out there.
First of all, we go at 9:00 on Sunday nights. Every now and then I might sneak in another show, but we generally go once a week. And when you and others give me the opportunity, then and I jump in when I can. But we talk all sports. Going to hit the 49ers and the NFL at large. The Shador Sanders thing versus Gabriel. For Gabriel, I don't want him to be like the little guy that could, but he had an opportunity today to really make a statement to the Cleveland Browns versus what Shador did last week. and he played okay, but he didn't play as well as Shadua. So Shadua is number 4 on the depth chart on Monday. We need to call the FBI, something like that. We're going to talk about the Warriors also. The Kuminga Warrior deal is still bubbling because Steve Kerr is actually coming out with a couple of comments that's a little differently. Like he's saying, you know what? I'm a veteran coach. I rely on my younger coaches to coach these young players. When I played in college, he came in the league and we were ready to play, intimating that maybe he's not doing the best job with Kuminga and some of his younger players. So we're going to talk about basketball. We also have a movie review, highest to the lowest, Denzel Washington, and then Spike Lee's brand new movie. It's phenomenal. So we got a lot to talk about. So join me tomorrow. Check out my Twitter at Big Frank Red, and also subscribe to the channel. We have 300 and some odd subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000. And that will happen when it's supposed to, but give us a shot. I think it's pretty entertaining.
Absolutely. Frank and I go way back, and Kev, are we going to see you next week, next Sunday after Niners Chargers? Or are you out?
Potentially, I might be traveling. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. One last super here. We got this one from Nicholas Parra. The schedule gives us hope, yet there are so many questions. I think that's a great way to end. That's really it. Niners win. It was an exciting Saturday afternoon. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Also, thanks to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Anthony Catania's at 831-521-5264. And Clawdaddy Arcades. Big shout out to Clawdaddy. Great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. They got brand new locations opening this year at Capitola Mall in the South Bay and Visalia Mall in the Central Valley. So thanks to Clawdaddy Arcades for being a sponsor of the Krug Show. And thanks to all of you guys. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Go Niners. We'll be back tomorrow. The Niners are off. We'll do some videos. Back at it Monday on the grind, getting ready for Charger Week. The final preseason game, the cut down to 53 is a week from Tuesday. So a lot to get to as far as the roster, and we'll do some roster breakdowns, I'm sure, this week. So thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Thanks to Frank. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to all of you. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.